Okay, so hey, good afternoon, everybody. For those of you that pay real close attention, you might notice that I have a new camera. And if you see me looking down once in a while, because that's where the controls are. And I actually have my laptop on the counter with the mouse and everything. And a friend convinced me to get this. It's kind of nice, you know. It's got a zoom, and you can go in and you can go out, and you can pan and I guess move it a little bit if you need to. I'll probably just end up moving it around the camera as normal. But anyway, so let's get down to business. Today I'm going to show you how to make Chinese green onion pancakes. Now, if you've ever had these at a restaurant or at dim sum, you know they're like really good. And it's like anything else, you know. It's really easy once you know how to do it. And you'd be surprised how cheap this is. So don't get too mad at the restaurant owners. They're just trying to make some money, you know. So anyways, let's get down to it. So first thing you're going to need is 3 cups all-purpose flour. So just get a cup scoop there. And the easiest, fastest way to measure this, just get a knife and just push off the rest. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So to the 3 cups of flour, you are going to add 1 cup of boiling water. So once that's all mixed up, pretty good there, get a 1/4 cup of cold water. Just mix that in for a bit, and then get your hands in there. The cold water cools it down enough that you can get your hands in without hurting yourself. And if it's still too warm for you, just wait a bit. So pick up the bits of flour in the bottom, as much as you can, and then just turn it all out on your clean countertop. And knead this for about 5 minutes. The dough will be very sticky to start off with. But you can also add a little bit of flour to the counter if you need to. You really shouldn't need that much. I've been kneading this for about 5 minutes, and in between every couple of so oftens you just pick it up and whack it on the counter. You do get a better dough if you do this. So this should be nearly smooth. This one is slightly sticky, but I actually prefer it a little sticky than putting in so much flour that it gets tough and dry. So now, you get your original bowl that you didn't clean, no problem. Pop it back in. Take a bit of the flour, just sprinkle that on top. And just get a light dusting of flour over this and cover it with some plastic wrap while you get the green onions ready. I have 2 bunches of green onions today because I'm making 12 of these. I love these things for my lunch. You can either eat them cold, they're kind of chewy, which is nice, or You can heat them up in the microwave for a few seconds. Now, to prepare these, first thing, give them a quick wash. Yeah, and obviously take off the elastics, it's not extra fiber. Now, so look these over. If there's any floppy bits, just pull them off. And also, if you've got some dead layers on the outside at the bottom, pull those off as well. Even them up. Cut it a fair bit from the end. You're going to have way more than enough green onion for this, and you don't want any of the dead stuff from the tops. Trim the bottoms. Once these have been trimmed, I like to give them another quick rinse just to get off anything that will slide off in the cutting. You can do these one by one, right, like that, but honestly I think it takes a lot longer because you have to chop these really fine. So I just get in there. After I chop a bit of it, then just dice them up as fine as you can get. The reason you want to do this is that you don't want big chunks of the white bit or even the green one. You don't want big pieces like that popping up through the pancake. And the only way to avoid that is to give them a nice fine chop. And when I'm getting right down close to the end, I've already got enough, and I don't want a piece of my finger in with the pancake, so I just take the bits and throw them on. The next step is, while the dough is still resting, I've got the onions all chopped up on the side there, is get the shortening ready. Now, if you want to be truly authentic with this, you should be using lard. I'm using shortening because that's what most people have. And the taste is nearly indistinguishable, so you're okay with this. Now, this is not an exact amount. A big spoon like that is probably way more than you need, but this stuff is cheap, and I'm not going to keep chasing it in between pancakes. I melt mine in the microwave. If you have a fondue set, which I don't, but if you do, and you got the little warmer there, this is just perfect if you have a metal bowl to keep the shortening on the fondue set, because you want to keep it melted at all times. That's what the pastry brush is going to be for. So I just pop this in the microwave for a couple of minutes, and if it does set up between pancakes, well, you will have to heat it up again because it does have to be liquid. Get your dough that's been resting. Keep the plastic wrap, you will need it again. And divide this into 12. The easiest way to do this is to get your knife, cut it in half. Cut each half, take your half, put it face down, push it down, cut that again, take one of the pieces, face down, push it down, make it into kind of like a little log with your hands so it feels about even, and then visually just cut that into thirds. So take the, you can see how moist these are after you cut them. You do want them to stay like that until you need them. So put them back in the bowl after they're cut and cover them up with the plastic wrap till you're ready for them. So I have everything ready to put the pancakes together now. I've got my cut up dough. I got some flour. I have the melted shortening with a pastry brush. I got a little bit of salt. I got my green onion, of course, my trusty noodle stick to roll, and a plate that I'll set aside for now that the finished pancakes will go on before cooking. So take a piece of the dough, just make a disc with your hand. Dust a little bit of flour on the counter. Get your noodle stick or rolling pin, whatever you have, and just turn it around. Now if you see it starting to stick, sure, put a bit more flour down. No problem. These do not have to be perfectly round by any means. Just get them about that big. So around 7 inches or so, 7 or 8. Now the dough will roll to about that thin. Okay? So once you have your pancake, and I will take a second to zoom in a bit here. Dip your brush in the liquid shortening or lard that you've got, and brush the surface of the pancake with that. Doesn't have to be completely even. You don't have to go all the way to the edges either. Get a handful of chopped green onion. Sprinkle it around. This is why I do this straight on the counter, because yeah, this is going to get a little messy, alright, but who cares, you can clean it up later. So that should be about good. Get a pinch of salt. You can use whatever kind you want, regular. I'm using my sea salt because I like it. And just sprinkle that with salt. Now, yeah, and you will get your hands dirty, oh well. If you don't push the green onion into the pancake, it will all bunch up when you prepare it and all end up in one part, so you don't want to do that, okay? So, after you've done that, fold it up like you would a letter, okay? Press it down gently again. Turn it towards you. And roll it up like that. Okay. Now the first part you are going to form it by hand. And just give me a minute to zoom in here so you can get a really good shot of this. So you've got your roll. Okay. Try to keep the seal where your thumbs are. Hold it between your hands and push down. See, and if it starts to come up, just keep it pushed with your thumbs. Okay? So that looks like a little snail roll there. If you've ever made cinnamon snails. Okay? So push it between your hands, back and forth, keeping your thumb over the seam so it doesn't open up on you. Turn that over a couple of times. Oh, see, there's an onion breaking through, but it's not a big deal. And that's like a fairly chopped one. If you'd had big chunks, this would be a lot worse. Now, some might break through while you're rolling it out. Not a problem. So get your noodle stick again, and very, very gently roll it out one way, turn it over the other way. And keep rolling and turning. Now, it did break a little, and that's okay, because what I'm going to show you here You see where it lifted up? You get nice thin layers, and this is part of the really nice crunchiness that you get when you fry these after. And it's like any other thing. The more you practice, the better you get. But if it does start sticking really badly, yeah, do flour it down a little. Okay, so there's the first one. And I'm just going to put this on the plate and keep going. So all the pancakes are made. That took a little over half an hour. And just in case you're curious, this is what's left. There's about that much green onion, so that was fairly accurate. There's just a smear of shortening in the bottom and some stuck on the brush, so that was good too. Nearly all the flour was used up, and I did have some leftover salt because I always put more in the cup. So next thing to do is obviously clean up the counter and get the oil heating up. So I got my setup here for the cooking. I'm going to turn on the oven here to 200 degrees. This is good for keeping them warm while you're making all of them, if you're going to be serving them up for dinner or a party or something. Also, actually finishing them in the oven does just help get that right degree of crispness, so that's always good. And then get a pan hot. I use the biggest pan I've got. I can get 4 in here. If you've got a smaller pan, you should be able to do 2 or 3. It is worth getting a bigger one instead of having to do them one at a time in a little one, which is still possible. Now for this, I have got a blend. I'm lucky enough to be able to buy a blend of peanut and sesame oil. If you don't, use peanut oil, and you may want to add a bit of sesame to the bottle for flavor. Up to you. Now I just put enough in, not to cover completely, because you're not deep frying these, you are pan frying. And yeah, if that's a bit shy, you can pop in a bit more. You will be adding oil as you cook these, because they will absorb some. Wait till the oil is hot, and using tongs, just put one in. Try not to splash. Now, this isn't an all or nothing thing. You can flip these several times. Okay? What I do is I look at the first one. This is a bad angle for the camera. It's not even really cooked, so I'll just leave it there. Gee, I guess I'm going to have to learn how to use my left hand for this new camera. So that's starting to go. So that one you can flip that. And I am going to flip these and try to get a zoom in here for you. Yeah, this isn't precise. I mean, you see, you know, I'm not just turning it once or whatever. You just cook them till they look good, okay? And if you have to turn one again and the other one not, oh well, who cares? I think people worry about some of this stuff way, way too much. Okay, last batch is done. Turn the heat off right away. I always do that first thing, so I don't forget. So here are the pancakes out of the oven. They've been resting in there for about 5-10 minutes. So let me just get you a nice zoom shot here on this. Okay. And you'll need a nice sharp knife. They traditionally cut these into wedges. Gee, I hope that microphone's good and you can hear the crunching. I think you can. Alright. So, this. That's so nice, I can actually see what I'm doing now. Okay, so there is what the pancake looks like. Alright, it's all crispy and all the layers are separated and it's crunchy and chewy, and hopefully you can hear me eat it. Yeah, came out just nice. You can either serve these warm, fresh out of the oven. I love these things for lunch. Just bring a couple with you to work. You can either eat them cold, they're fine cold, heat them up in the microwave for, 10-20 seconds. So there's my Chinese green onion pancakes. I really hope you try making these, One of the reasons I do my videos is to teach people how to cook, and hopefully some people make my stuff. I know some of them do. I do get some feedback. And yeah, it does taste as good as it looks when you make it, and it's not that hard, so try and give it a shot, eh? Anyways, hope to see you again. Thanks for watching. Bye.